Right, boys, well, lads and ladies, UFC 300 is imminent. It's around the corner. Today we're going to do our predictions video, and we're going to see if this video ages poorly or not. Also, I'm trying to decide what you think's a better colour scheme. So we got red, we've got green, we've got blue, white. What do you guys think is the best colour scheme for Sean Jones fighting? Okay, because we're starting a new channel for Sean Jones Fitness. Maybe go with blue for the time being. Just revamping my setup. Some of you guys with the trained eye might realise that the quality looks a little bit better. I no longer have to export these videos in a super low bit rate because I've got a monster PC setup. Anyway, so here is the format, guys. I've came prepared today. I've actually built out a full table with all the fights on this card and everyone's previous fight because, as we know, activity means a lot in the world of MMA. You're only as good as your last performance. Also, guys, remember, I'm live streaming UFC 300. I'm going to start live streaming quite frequently, maybe even multiple times a week. And then all the big fight cards, maybe even the small fight cards, you best believe your boy is going to be live streaming. Let me just show you how stacked this card is from top to bottom. We've got 4 fights on the prelims. We've got another 4 fights on the early prelims. And each one of these prelim fights could be a main event. Well, maybe not every single one of them, but you get me point. The card is stacked. So first off, we're starting off with Deiveson Figueiredo versus Cody Garbrandt. Now, I believe this is going to be a bit of a banger of a fight. And the best way that we're going to do this is I'm going to show you the previous fights of everyone on this card. So Figueiredo's last fight was against Rob Font, and he was looking pretty decent, to be fair. His striking is always crisp, and he holds so much power at bantamweight now because we know that previously he used to have proper brutal cuts down to flyweight. Now that he no longer has to cut that weight, he's bringing that power up into the next weight division. Rob Font is known for having pretty decent striking, and Figueiredo done this to him. Boom. See that? It rocked him. So Figueiredo walked away with the decision in that fight. Cody Garbrandt's last fight was against Brian Kelleher. Now, I'm not going to lie, guys. I don't think I watched this fight, or if I did, I didn't really pay much attention to it. I've turned into a bit of an MMA casual recently. We won't let that last very long. Actually, I do remember watching this fight because I remember that terrible haircut of Brian Kelleher. Sorry about the awful quality as well. Don't know what's going on here. But as you can see, look at Cody returning to form in this fight. He was feeling himself. His swagger was flowing. So the question is he going to be able to bring out that Cody Garbrandt that we all know and love when he absolutely dominated Dominic Cruz? And as we can see, he KO'd or TKO'd Brian Kelleher right there. So now that Cody isn't coming off a loss, is he going to be able to take that momentum off his last win and get the win over Deiveson Figueiredo? I don't think so. I think Deiveson is looking really good. He's a very unorthodox fighter. He puts a lot of pressure on his opponents. Cody Garbrandt doesn't really like fighting on the back foot. He's usually a blitzing type fighter. He throws big, strong overhand rights. Maybe Cody can catch Deiveson on the way in, but I think Deiveson Figueiredo is going to walk down Cody Garbrandt, and I'm actually going to go with 3rd round stoppage for Deiveson Figueiredo. Next, we've got Bobby Green versus Jim Miller. Ooh, let's take a look at these fights. So Bobby Green's last fight was against Jalin Turner, and this is what happened. Refresh y'all's memory. Oh yeah, got him right there. Chicken leg, do the chicken dance. What the hell was that referee doing? Was he doing a Mario Yamasaki, trying to let him be a warrior, trying to let that fighting spirit come out? Bobby Green took about 15 unanswered shots there. Absolutely terrible. So that's a pretty bad loss that Bobby Green is coming off, and it was only 4 months ago. Is that enough time for Bobby to make a full recovery, to be unconcussed? I don't know, I don't think so. And Jim Miller had a great outing in his last fight against Gabriel Benitez. He submitted him by a rear naked choke. Is this Jim Miller's last fight? I think it might be the last fight on his contract. When you look at Jim Miller's record, he's got 37 wins, 17 losses, 7 wins by knockout, 20 wins by submission, 15 first round finishes. Now, to look at this guy, you would not think that he's as much of a killer as he actually is. He's won 5 out of his last 6 fights. I think we're going to see Jim Miller get a rear naked choke on Bobby Green in the 2nd round. Let's go with that. Next fight, we got Jessica Andrade versus Maria Rodriguez. Okay, let's move straight past that one. I'm only joking for my female audience. I'm only messing. Jessica Andrade's last fight, I remember having this on, and I'll be honest, I wasn't really paying much attention to it. Mackenzie Dern caught Jessica Andrade with a few shots in this fight. But one thing I do remember is this nasty left hook by Andrade. Oh, yes. Absolute crazy, right on the button. Now, here's the thing. Jessica Andrade got hit a few times in this fight by Mackenzie Dern. Mackenzie's got a bit of a wild style, and then obviously she got KO'd right there. And bang. Down she goes. And Marina Rodriguez, she actually beat the brakes off the karate hottie, as you Americans say, whereas I say the karate hottie. So it doesn't actually rhyme in English, but it rhymes in American. But yeah, she absolutely battered the hottie that is the karate girl. Who do I think is going to win in this fight? Let's go with Jessica Andrade by decision. We'll take Jalin Turner versus Renato Moicano. Now, this is where we get into the banger fights. This is where it gets interesting. Moicano is a dog. He is always ready to throw down. He's one of those lightweights that like everyone wants to avoid. Obviously, he's down the ranks a little bit now. He's been focusing on his YouTube a little bit more. Hats off to him. Obviously, we've seen Jalin Turner's last fight against Bobby Green. He KO'd him and he had that horrible stoppage. Now, Renato Moicano pretty much dominated his last fight against Drew Dober, who's an absolute stud and shad. I mean, look at the size of his legs, look at his calves. His ankles are thicker than my head. And he did put on a grappling masterclass. But Moicano can also bang. He can also throw hands. He's got a good solid chin on him. But here's the thing. Moicano is very hittable. He gets hit a lot. So I'm going to take Jalin Turner in this fight. Jalin Turner's just got a very dynamic, wild style, and I believe he can catch Moicano. The way Moicano is going to win this fight is he's got to take Jalin Turner down, but I just don't see that happening. Jalin Turner, he's lanky, he's stringy, he's bouncy, he's hard to hit. So I'm going to take Jalin Turner by decision. Let's go with that. I believe Moicano has got a good enough chin to last the entire fight. Right, we're moving out of the early prelims and into the main prelims. So we have Sodiq Yusuff versus Diego Lopez. Now, Sadiq's last fight was against Edson Barbosa, who's a nightmare matchup for anyone right now. Think about Edson Barbosa's fights. He batters everyone. Okay, he had a tough fight against Khabib, but he's always there and he's always dangerous. Did you see that wheel kick that he landed on Sodiq there? It's absolutely crazy. Look at the speed. This is in the 3rd round. And look at the speed that he still throws with. Edson is always dangerous. Absolute crazy shot, that. Same with these back kicks as well. So watch this back kick now. So fast. Bang. That hurt Sodiq. So Sodiq is coming off that loss against Barbosa, which is nothing to be ashamed about. Barbosa makes everyone. Now, Diego Lopez is riding a 3-fight win streak within the UFC. Apparently, this is the guy who's next up. This is the new prospect on the block. Now, Lopez is an absolute animal. If you want to see aggression personified, take a look at Lopez as I'm speaking right now. Look at the knees, look at the shot selection, look at the sprawling. The takedown defense is amazing. Uppercuts, overhand rights, the pure aggression out of him. I mean, super violent stoppage right there. This guy is definitely one to watch. I personally think Diego Lopez is going to get this fight. Sodiq Yusuff is good, but I just think that Lopez, he's got more weapons. He's a lot more explosive. He's fast twitchy. He's aggressive, and he's defensively responsible. So I'm going to take Diego Lopez by, let's go, 2nd round stoppage. I'm going to forget all these. I am literally going with my gut instinct. A lot of these fights are complete toss-ups as well. You can choose anyone, and you've got a 50-50% chance of being right. Holly Holm versus Silva, whoever she is. Let's take a look at Holly Holm's last fight. I guarantee, even though I didn't watch it, it was probably a decision. So let's just scroll forward. Okay, Holly Holm versus Bueno Silva. Let's see. Does she get choked out, actually, here? So Holly Holm got choked out in her last fight. Okay, damn. And the other girl, Kayla Harrison. I mean, is there any point even looking at Kayla Harrison's last fight when she hasn't even got a picture here? Who's bothered? It's going to be Holly Holm by a boring decision, staying on the outside, throwing some jabs, throwing some side kicks, and the crowd booing. Holly Holm, maybe consider retiring soon. You've done enough in the sport. You've achieved the highest of highs. Then again, if she's still winning, she's still winning. Who am I to tell the girl what to do? Right, this is where we get into some absolute bangers, some absolute brawl fests. Calvin Kattar versus Aljamain Sterling. I like Calvin Kattar. He's a really good boxer until he met Max Holloway that time. And Max said, I'm the best boxer. I'm the best boxer in the UFC. I'll refresh your memories. Calvin Kattar fought Arnold Allen. How long ago was this? Oh, over a year ago. See, this is the problem. Calvin hasn't really been that active, and I hate it when a fighter he hasn't got that activity. Yeah, so he done that flying knee, and then Calvin comes out in orthodox, and then there goes that right leg again. So that's pretty unfortunate. So it was an ACL injury. It's just never good coming back from them ACL tears. Fighters never come back the same. This was on the 31st of October, 2022 as well, a very long time ago. Over a year and a half ago. Now, Aljamain Sterling, we all remember the last fight. It was him versus Sugar Sean O'Malley. And, I mean, this was an absolute beautiful KO. Aljamain comes in and then Sean fades back and cracks him in the face. Boom, right there. What a great finish that was. And then he grounds and pounds him. And that was all she wrote. So, both of these fighters are coming off losses. Who was going to get the job done? I think Aljamain Sterling's going to get this done. In all honesty, this is a bit of a mismatch. I really don't understand the logic of Calvin Kattar coming off 2 losses and then fighting Aljamain Sterling, who's number 2 in the world and has only lost to the champion, the current champion. I believe this is a bit of a mismatch. I think Aljamain Sterling is going to absolutely ragdoll Calvin Kattar everywhere. The obvious prediction would be Aljamain Sterling by a submission. I'd like to see him come out and get a knockout or a TKO, but I'm going to go with the safe bet. I'm actually going to say rear naked choke. Round 1. Let's go with it. I don't think Calvin Kattar's going to be the same. Coming off that horrible injury, he's going to be hesitant. He's being extremely inactive. It's the logical decision, although it's not good to be logical when we're talking about MMA because anyone can win. Next, we got Jiri Prochazka versus Aleksandar Rakic. Ooh, yeah. We all know Jiri's last fight. It was against Alex Pereira. This was the finishing blitz. So, Jiri Prochazka had a few moments in this fight. He actually caught Alex Pereira in that exchange. You're seeing right there. Just Alex done well baiting him in and then clipping him with that right hook, then a left hook, and then all these elbows behind the ear. Jiri was doing good. I thought Jiri looked good, especially coming off his shoulder injury. I thought he looked pretty decent. Now, Aleksandar Rakic, his last fight was against Jan Blachowicz, and he also had a knee injury. So everyone's just getting injured left, right, and centre these days. So in this fight, I'm going to take Jiri Prochazka to win. So Rakic is coming off the injury. It was in May 2022. That's a long time ago. Similar to the last fight we were talking about with Calvin Kattar. I just don't think it's going to end good for Aleksandar Rakic. I think Jiri Prochazka is going to get the job done. The question, is Rakic durable enough to withstand Jiri Prochazka right now? I didn't think Jiri was looking as powerful in that Pereira fight as he used to look. Maybe it's just a testament to Pereira's chin and Pereira's durability. But I just think he was lacking a bit of that pop in his punches, which is obviously explained by the shoulder injury. So has Jiri got that power back yet or not? I'm going to err on the side of no, and I do believe that Aleksandar Rakic is fairly durable, so I'm going to take Jiri Prochazka by a decision, or maybe if he had to say stoppage, I'll go with 3rd round stoppage, but I can't pick 2 things. I'll go decision by Jiri. Next, we got Bo Nickal versus Cody Brundage. Ooh, yeah. Now, here's the thing with Bo Nickal. I didn't think people were giving him a lot of credit for this last fight. I thought Bo Nickal in this fight looked proper sick because he's a wrestler, like a really, really good wrestler. This is the middleweight division that is kind of lacking wrestlers as well. But what was really on display in this fight was his striking. Now, people were saying, oh, he's being given bums. Yeah, he's only a couple fights in, but did you see that jumping lead right hook? Watch it right now. Boom, like the speed on that. And then that right left hand as well. And I thought, like, Joe Rogan, the commentary booth, they didn't give him any credit for his striking. They were just like, oh, yeah, well done to Bo. I thought Bo was looking super precise. He was looking fast. Like, he was very in and out, bouncy with his footwork. I just thought he wasn't getting enough credit for what he's shown here. And I know this guy was a last-minute replacement, but at the end of the day, he's black, he's jacked. You know, and you know the black jack lads, they have that durability. And Bo Nickal put him asleep. That's got to count for something. Now, Cody Brundage, guys, I've tried to find a complete recap of the fight, but I could only find this video. Some guy has broken down the slam TKO that he got Zachary Reese with, which was fantastic. It reminded me of Rampage back in the Pride days. Just lift up your opponent and hiya, slam them to the ground. Other than that fight, I haven't seen much of Cody Brundage, but I really like how Bo Nickal was looking in that last fight. I think we're going to see a KO by Bo Nickal, and I'm going to be ambitious with it. I'm going to say 1st round KO by Bo Nickal. Bit of a mad prediction, but I'm going with it. It's my channel. You can have your predictions. This is my prediction. Next, oh man, we got Charles Oliveira versus Arman Tsarukyan. Man, this might actually be fight of the night. I mean, any of these top 4 fights have got the potential to be fight of the night, but I'm super excited for this fight. Charles Oliveira, one of my favourite fighters right now. Just an absolute assassin, a killer. Look at his record in his last few fights. He's only lost against Islam, and everyone loses against Islam. So Oliveira's last fight was against Beneil Dariush, and I thought Beneil would have given Charles a bit more of a tough time, but Charles, man, he just gets it. Like, he's just too good. He's just so good. Like, his scramble ability, his wrestling, his grappling, just the way he's got that Muay Thai style and just walks you down and absolutely batters you. Like, look at Beneil Dariush. Who does this to Beneil? He is the top G of the lightweight division. Now, here's the thing. He's going up against Arman Tsarukyan, who is also really good, who's also got those wrestling credentials. But one thing that Arman does really well is he uses his wrestling to set up the striking. And an absolute violent KO that was. Look at this finishing ability here. Like, just really aggressive. But has he got what it takes to beat the top G? That is Charles Oliveira. I don't think so. I think Charles Oliveira, I'm going to go first round stoppage, guys. I know that's a little bit ambitious for Arman Tsarukyan because he is smashing it right now. And he is also looking really unstoppable. But I'm putting my faith in Charles. I believe after that Islam loss, he came back and absolutely murked Beneil Dariush, and he's riding that confidence wave super high right now. I think he's going to come out here aggressive, put on the pressure on Arman, and he's going to knock him out in the 4th minute of the first round with a straight right hand. That's what I'm going with. I'm going super specific with that one. Oh my days. Next we got Justin Gaethje versus Max Holloway. Oh no. Now, if you watched this fight between Justin Gaethje and Dustin Poirier is known to have some of the best boxing in the UFC. We all agree on that. I've seen multiple polls online of people talking about who's the best boxer in the UFC, and Justin Gaethje and Max Holloway are always in the same polls, and everyone kind of agrees that Dustin Poirier is the best. I know it's all subjective, but at the end of the day, he's up there. Yet Poirier couldn't hit Gaethje in this fight. He caught him a few times, but Gaethje is very unhittable. And here's the thing, I love Max. Max is also one of my favourite fighters. He has been for years. I love Max Holloway. I love the fact that he's coming up to lightweight division. I believe he's definitely got potential in this division. But Gaethje, man, Gaethje is looking less and less hittable with every fight that he's in. He's also got that power. And here's the thing, I know that some people can talk about how the power of Justin Gaethje is a myth, because who is he really KO'd? He didn't even KO Tony Ferguson. Tony's got a really good chin, but it was a TKO. I mean, even if we go back, the only notable person who Justin has KO'd, Dustin Poirier. I mean, before that, it was a decision against Fiziev. He lost against Oliveira. He got a decision against Michael Chandler, and he was cracking Michael Chandler, and he couldn't put Michael Chandler out. Charles Oliveira was able to rock Chandler. Justin Gaethje couldn't. And then if we look before that, obviously he lost against Khabib. He got the TKO against Tony, but that's not a hard thing to do. He got a TKO against Donald Cerrone. That was in 2019. Once again, it's against Donald Cerrone, who's a good fighter, but still. He got the TKO against Barbosa, which, fair enough, that's a good TKO. That was in 2019. He got the TKO against James Vick. So really, it was all the way back in 2020 or 2019, the last KO that he had. So I can't even remember my point I was getting to, but basically, Justin Gaethje, he's got power, but not crazy power. Max Holloway has also got a very good chin, and that's at featherweight. So coming up to lightweight, although the fighters have got more power, he's going to have a lot more weight on him. He's not going to have to diet down as much, so his chin is going to be better. He's going to be able to take shots better. He's also taken 10 weeks to prepare for this fight, whereas I think it was only 5 weeks that Max Holloway took to prepare for the Dustin Poirier fight. So he's putting the right kind of weight on. He's not just putting fat on, love handles. No, he's gaining muscle. He's been doing the strength and conditioning work. Justin Gaethje, apart from Dustin Poirier, he's not KOing people left, right, and centre. He cracks, but he hasn't shown in his recent fights that he's had that one-punch KO power. Max Holloway also got a really good chin. I believe Justin Gaethje is going to take this one by decision, and I hope I'm wrong, because I always have the person who I want to win and then the person who I think is going to win. Max Holloway, in this case, is the person who I want to win. I love Max. He looks great. I think he's only 32. He's still in the prime of his career. You can argue he's getting better. His last fight was against Korean Zombie, who he knocked out, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to beat Justin Gaethje. Here's what Gaethje done against Poirier. Dustin Poirier pulling up his shorts. And then here we go. Bang. Crazy. This was Max Holloway's last fight. Korean Zombie put it on Max, and then Max threw a crazy overhand right. Yeah, the overhand right. Max Holloway never knocks out people. So to see Max get this knockout, I loved it. I want Max to win, but I think Justin Gaethje is going to take it by decision. Max is going to have a good enough chin, but let's face it, Max doesn't possess the same knockout power that Justin Gaethje does, or even the same power, let's say. I'm not even going to say knockout power because that goes against everything that I've just said in the last 5 minutes. But you just have to look at it factually. Max hasn't got the power, but he's got a good chin. Justin Gaethje's got more power, also got a good chin. They're both fit as a fiddle, so I don't think anyone's going to get gassed in this fight. I think this might be fight of the night, and it's just going to be all-out war. I'd love to see classic Max Holloway stand there in the middle of the ring and go, come on, let's go, and just stand and bang. But imagine how great it would be if Holloway KO'd Justin Gaethje. That'd put him in line for a title shot straight away. I think if Max can come out and get a KO over Gaethje, I mean, we're asking for a lot here, but that'd be sick. I'd love that to happen. Right, okay, we got Zhang Weili versus Jan. I don't even know how to pronounce that second name. I'm not even going to try. Zhang last fought Amanda Lemos, and this is how it went down. So bang, that right hand. Zhang is just so strong and powerful. She's like a tank. She's kind of like a Chinese Jessica Andrade. Look how athletic she is. I mean, look at those hamstrings. Look at her back. She's jacked. Those punches, she possesses so much power. And then we got Jan versus Andrade here. And oh my God, what a knockout that was. Jessica Andrade needs to do something about blitzing in like this, because this is like the second or third time she's got caught running in. She actually got caught like this against Zhang Weili. She blitzed in and Zhang knocked it out, and then the exact same thing happened here. There you go. It must just be the Chinese look. So both of these ladies possess brutal power, but I just think Zhang Weili, she's just good everywhere. She's got power, she's got precision, she's got loads of weapons in her arsenal, but I do believe that Jan is durable to take it all. So I'll take Zhang Weili by a decision. And then finally, we have the main event of the evening. Alex Pereira versus Jamahal Hill. Now, let me just say something for you guys who are still watching. If any of you haters are still here complaining that I'm picking Jamahal Hill over Alex Pereira, you clearly didn't listen to the videos. Yesterday's video title was called How Jamahal Hill Knocks Out Alex Pereira, meaning this is how he can do it. Yeah, it's a little bit clickbaity title, but who doesn't do the clickbaity titles? And I lay down the argument for how Jamahal Hill can do it. The day before, I'd done a video on Alex Pereira and how he can knock out Jamahal Hill. They were both two videos from an unbiased perspective of how each fighter can get the job done. I'm actually siding with Alex Pereira in this fight, and I actually said that in the Alex Pereira video. So you muppets who didn't even listen and use your friggin' ears, stop hearing what you want to hear and actually listen. I'm siding with Alex Pereira to win this fight. Now, there's some caveats. Before we go through the caveats, obviously you're seeing the Alex Pereira's last fight. It was against Jiri Prochazka. And then we got Jamahal Hill's last fight against Glover Teixeira. Now, Glover is Alex Pereira's coach. This was an absolute war. And Jamahal Hill took the decision win over Glover Teixeira and won the title. Glover retired right there and then. So, guys, I've broke down all the technique side of things in yesterday's video and the day before. So I'm not going to go into super detail with that. I was actually thinking, my first initial gut feeling when this fight was announced was Jamahal Hill. As much as it pains me to say that, because I'm a massive Alex Pereira fan. I think he's boss. What he's accomplished is nothing short of amazing. But Jamahal Hill is dangerous. He's like a sniper. He's got power in his hands, which I do think is a little bit overstated. I will say that. He's the same height as Pereira. He's listed as 6'4", but I don't know if he's a true 6'4" like Alex Pereira is. And Jamahal Hill can take a shot. He can take a shot a lot better than Jiri Prochazka can. But here's the thing. Jamahal Hill tore his Achilles tendon, and I think it was only, what was it, like 10 months ago or something like that? Maybe less. I've got a cousin who had the exact same injury, and all he did was rest it, and it took him over 12 months to get back to normal, to be able to even go for a jog again. Now, I know these UFC fighters, they've got access to the best medical intervention that there is. They got the best physiotherapists, the best strength and conditioning coaches, but I just don't like how soon it is that Jamahal Hill is getting back into the cage. I believe it's too early. One thing I haven't seen too many people talking about is when you've got that Achilles injury, you can't push off that foot. And in order to throw punches and kicks, you need to be able to push off your feet. Jamahal Hill's main weapons, straight right hand and his left kick off the back foot from southpaw. Regardless of what foot it was that he damaged, those two weapons aren't going to be as effective if he's not 100% recovered. Now, only Jamahal Hill knows that he's 100% recovered or not. And Jamahal Hill is extremely certain on his YouTube channel, on his videos, he's been saying, I am going to knock out Alex Pereira. I'm going to KO him. And he's saying it with conviction. And I love the energy. And when I listen to him, I believe him. But then once again, the logic side of things kicks in, which isn't a good decision to do when you're picking MMA fights. Alex Pereira, he's got the momentum behind him. He's got that one-punch KO power. Who has Jamahal Hill faced who's got the same type of power as Alex Pereira? Also, let's put it this way, right? I'll actually load up Jamal's profile right here and show you guys right now. Let's go down to Jamahal Hill's record. Who has he beat? That's notable. Okay, Glover, but Glover's old. He's past his prime. Still a dog, don't get me wrong. No disrespect whatsoever to Glover. He won the title off Glover, past his prime. Santos hasn't looked the same since the John Jones fight when he messed up his ACLs. Johnny Walker gets KO'd all the time. So yeah, he punched Johnny Walker in the forehead and KO'd him, and it was a nasty KO. But still, it's Johnny Walker. Okay, he beat Jimmy Crute, but Jimmy Crute's last win was like 2021 or something, and he's lost a good few. And then he lost against Paul Craig. So the depth of Jamahal Hill's record, it's not that deep. I do believe he's got the tools to beat Alex Pereira, but I think Alex is just going to be a little bit too much for him on the night. Right, now the prediction. This is a tough one. It's very hard to gauge how this fight is going to go down. It's either going to be a back and forth war for a full 5 rounds. No one's going to get knocked out. Jamahal Hill hasn't got as much power because of his ankle. Jamahal Hill's also got a chin, takes shots well, so maybe Pereira can't get him out of there. Or we see Pereira come out the gate and KO Jamahal in the first 1 or 2 rounds. I don't know. What I'm leaning more towards is that Jamahal Hill will be winning on the scorecards for the first 2 or 3 rounds. And then Alex Pereira in the 3rd or 4th round is going to come out of nowhere and KO him. Because that is typically how Pereira fights go. Pereira doesn't dominate people from start to finish. A lot of the time, he kind of is behind on the scorecards, or at the very least, he's making it an even fight. He doesn't piece people apart over the course of the fight. He'll just be doing okay. Then out of nowhere, bang, lights out. So I actually believe that's how this fight is going to go. I'm going to say Alex Pereira, rounds 4 knockout, and that's who I want to win as well. So what do you guys think? Comment all of your predictions down below. I'm going to do a live stream, so make sure you all tune in. Get your sweeties ready, get your crisp ready. I'm going for the run as soon as I've edited this video to make sure that I'm not going to get too fat. Like and subscribe for daily fighting content. Appreciate you all. See you tomorrow.